We're gonna continue off about sets. So let's get started. All right. So let's start with what part of our start of the homework. All right. So let's start with problem one. In a survey, 95 television viewers offered their opinion about program A and program B. Of those viewers, 28 liked neither program A nor program B, while 20 liked both program A and program B. 25 viewers like program A only. How many viewers like program B only? Right? So let's start. We talked about these before. We noticed that they're basically inclusion and exclusion around that's going around here. Alright? So in total, we can draw a Venn diagram. Let's say this is A, this is B. The intersection is both A and B. We know that 28 of them are outside of the entire set. The box is the entire representatives. So basically, all 95 television viewers are in this set. And then we want to find how many are in A, how many are only in B, not in both A and B, right? So, in the outside, there's 28. So we know there's 28 outside. Now, how many are in A? Well, how many are strictly A? Well, this place is only 25. There's only 25 viewers inside that one area. Also, we can make this as 28 in the entire outside region. But we also notice that we want to find this B, only B, is the pink area. And while the yellow is already know is 20. Notice that since the total is 95, since the total is 95, move those a bit down. All right, so that's a bit of visualization over here. So notice that I'm gonna write up here. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna erase these. Because you got the visualization ready. Just make a smaller picture. All right. Since we know that, now we're just gonna look at this. All right. Remember we had this intersection. We're gonna find B. I already know these areas. Right? So we know that 20 are in this. 28 are outside. Oops, my bad. 28 and 25 only like A. So in total, that are inside the set that are either A or B, there's a total of 95 minus 28. Since 28 are outside, we get 67 as the people as how many are in this area, entire area. Shaded in this area. Right? Now, I'm gonna say inside. Now since there's 67 inside, and we know we found one area, which is the green area, is 25. We know the yellow area is 20. All that's left is the pink area. So what if we just add all three of those areas, and we know that this is 67 because the total inside is 67. So from there we get 25 plus 20 plus pink is 67. So right now 25 plus 20 plus pink is equal to 67. Now you just add 25 plus 20, which is 45. Subtract it from both sides. We get 22 is equal to pink. Which then gives us the answer as how many viewers like program B only. That's 22. Alright, let's get started with problem 2 now. In an assortment of cereals, 43 types contain oats and 55 types contain rice. Some of these cereals contain both oats and rice. If 50 cereals in this assortment contain oats but not rice, how many cereals contain rice but not oats? Alright, this is an interesting question here. Let's first, as always, draw out a Venn diagram, since it helps you visualize things. In this case, it's neither oats or rice because obviously if there's just going to be water in the cereal or milk, whatever you add in the cereals. That's all that's left. So there's probably going to not 199.9%, give it or take 0.1%. It's going to definitely be either oats or rice. Right? So let's draw the Venn diagram. So this is oats and this is rice. Now 55 contain rice. Okay. We're saying that this entire area, this area I shaded in green, is just rice. But this also means it's including the intersection. You see this intersection I'll shade in yellow? That intersection is being included in the 43 types that contain oats and the 55 types containing rice. Right? So keep that in careful. So if there's 15, we know that. Call this the green area. Again, a different type though. Green area is 15, which is the oats area, but not including the middle. That is containing oats but not rice. Okay? So that's only oats. This is oats and rice. What we can do is just subtract the 15 from the 43, or 43 minus 15. This gives you 28. 28 in the middle, which contains both oats and rice. Right? Now, we can apply the 28 we got from here, the yellow midsection. We can use the 28 we've got subtracted from the 55. Why is that? Remember we talked about the 55 is just basically the right circle, or this entire circle. That entire circle is just rice. But it includes rice, right? So the 28 will be inside the rice. And we want to find how many are rice but not oats. So we have to subtract the 28 from the rice, and we have to subtract the 28, which is the rice and oats, from the set which includes rice. Which any type of cereal includes rice. Okay? So what we have to do here is notice that total rice is 55. Now, rice plus oats is 28. So from these two amounts, we just subtract, and we get 27. That's our answer. So we know that there's going to be 27 in the rice, but not oats, right? So the answer to this question is B. All right? Is there any questions? If you have any questions, just type it in chat. All right, let's move on. Let's on to problem 3. In a survey, 500 students selected their usual methods of communication with friends from the following 3 options: calling, or C, text messaging, T, or instant messaging, I. The Venn diagram above shows the result of the survey. How many students selected exactly one of the 3 methods of communicating? Alright, so let's analyze this first, okay? It says, in a survey, 5,000 students selected their usual method of communication with friends from the following 3 options: calling, texting, and instant messaging. Okay, so what we want to do is find the ones that are not above 1. So they only chose one method only, right? This means that we cannot have intersections. As we can see in the Venn diagram right over here, let's zoom in. As we can see in the Venn diagram below, we do not count the intersections. Why? Because that means we at least had 2 or more methods of communicating. As well, let's say this part, C and T Venn diagram. There's an intersection over here. Well, that just tells you that when the students were messaging, they used both calling and text messaging to deliver the message across, basically. All right? So then what we want to find is basically the sum of the number of students that only were in this area, and this area. Right? We want to find the people that are in those three areas, right? We can just add them up. Shouldn't be a big deal. We have 1478, 1409, and 452. We can add all of these up to get uh 3,339. So the answer to this question is just 3,339. Right? Now let's move on to problem 4. Since P and Q are shown below, if X is a member of set P and Y is a member of set Q, which of the following cannot be equal to the product XY? P 1, 3, 5, 6, 11, Q 2, 4, 6, 7, 9, 13. Okay, I'll let you have a try on this question and tell me your answer through chat. Please private message. All right, so I hope you had enough time to take a try on this question. So, then let's get started. So, basically, how we're supposed to approach this. Notice that we want to be, which cannot be equal to the product XY. So, in this case, we can just guess and check for the answers. So, let's see if A works. All right, A doesn't work. Why? Because we have a 3 and a 13. So 3 times 13 is 39, which obviously satisfies the requirement that x times y is equal to 1 of the p times 1 of the q. Okay? B, 143. That's just basically 11 times 13, which one of them is in p and one of them is in q. C is the one that's basically the golden star. That's basically the gold. Alright? Q. Notice that P has only one even, 6. Q has 3 evens, 2, 4, 6. Never, yeah, basically, notice that we have to have 4 times 4 is 16, 2 times 8 equals 16, or 1 times 16 equals 16. None of the numbers here satisfy the requirement, right? So 16 or C is going to be our answer. So basically what we did is just guess and check. That's all we did, right? Let's move on to problem 5. Of 40 people, 28 smoke and 16 chew tobacco. It's not good to smoke or chew tobacco. Is not recommended also. It is also known that 10 both smoke and chew. How many among the 40 neither smoke nor chew? I also guys have a try in this question and tell me your answer through private messaging. And as I said before, please private message. I do not want people to get spoiled with the answer, all right? So to get started with the question, yeah, 40 people, 28 smoke, 16 chew tobacco. As I said before, would not recommend and heavily doesn't do not recommend actually. Heavily do not recommend and don't do it. So basically, we want to find how many neither smoke or chew. Okay? Now, if we're gonna add the smoke and the people that chew tobacco together. That's in fact people that are also smoking and also chewing. Because why? Because we're double counting these types. Alright? So how do we approach this? We just do 28 plus 16 minus 10 to find how many smoke or chew, which gives you 34. That's smoke or chew. And since that's less than 40, we don't there's gonna be 40 minus 34 or 6 people that are neither smoke nor chew. Right? Now let's move on to problem 6. How many integers between 1 and 600 inclusive are not divisible by 3 or nor 5 nor 7? I'll let you go have a try on this question and tell me your answer through chat. Know that this might be a little bit harder, okay? This requires you basically expanding the knowledge, just like this. As we talked about, there's going to be two groups, and then we subtract the intersection. Same thing with problem 6, but with 3 different groups, right? Let's say guys have a go, and please private message. All right, let's get started. So basically, this is PIE with three variables, or principal in with inclusion and exclusion, right? Three variables. So basically, how are we supposed to do this? Note that basically it's gonna be a large number, 600, 93, nor 5, nor 7. Okay, this is manageable. First, we want to find how many are divisible by 3. Alright? First, we use complementary counting. Alright? Meaning the counting the opposite. So we want to find how many are 3, 4, 5, or 7. And then we're going to subtract it from the total amount, or 600, to find how many are neither 3, nor 5, nor 7. Alright? Start off. How many are divisible by 3? There's 200, alright? 600 divided by 3 is 200. Plus, how many are divisible by 5? Well, there's 120. If we count it all right. Alright, now that, how many are divisible by 7? That is 600 divided by 7. Let's see, 600 divided by 7, which is 85. Yep, 85.71. We'll just round down because if we go to the nearest integer, which is 86, we're going to be over counting with 1. Because 86 times 7 is going to be over 600. Right? So from there, we won't then want to find, we then subtract the two intersections with the 2, right? First one is intersection with 3 and 5, or 3 and 5. How many are divisible by 3 and 5? It's 15. There is 15. Wait, never mind. I mean, the basically 3 and 5 is 15. So it's gonna be, how many are divisible by 15? Well, that's 40. How many are divisible by 35? Or that's basically 600 divided by 35. Or 120 divided by 7. Which is just equal to 17. 17. And how many are divisible by 21? This just becomes 600 divided by 21. Or approximately 28. Alright? So all we have to do is subtract 200 plus 120. And then we're just going to add both on the 3. How many divided by 3, 5, and 7? This just gives us 105. So you want to find how many are divisible by 105 in the range of 600, 1 to 600. It gives you 5. We just add 5 in, right? So that's basically 200 plus 120 plus 85 minus, I hope I didn't calculate anything wrong here, minus 3 times 5, which is 15. It just gives you 40. Okay, that gives you, yep. Which gives you a total of 90, 210, and 410, and 170, 45, 215. Right? Then we subtract it from 600. We get hold on a second. It should be 40 plus 17, right? That's just gives you 57. 85. Subtract, we just get 325. And do 600 minus that, gives us 275. Yep. Sorry, a small calculation mistake made my actual calculations wrong. So basically, always remember to check your work. And this just gives us the answer of C, or 275. Alright, so basically what the method we use here is PIE. Alright, principle of inclusion and exclusion. Pi. Principle of inclusion oh my god. In my writing sloppy so much, bruh. Inclusion plus, this plus, that means and, exclusion. So basically what it says is, say we have sets A, B, C, right? We'll use these two bars over left and right of A to represent the number of elements in that set, right? Say we have A1, oops, I don't know why I keep calling Siri, A2, A3, and so on to A sub n, and sets. Now, principle of inclusion and exclusion states there's gonna be basically how many are in A1 or A2 or A3 or A4 all the way to AN. How many are in all of these, not overcounting. This gives us as the A1 plus A2 plus A3 and so on to AN. Then we're going to subtract A1, A2 plus, oh, this is in parentheses, or we can just write it without parentheses as minus A2, A3, or basically every combination with two sets. Basically like A1, A2, A1, A3, A1, A4, and so on, right? Then we add and continuing alternating until we reach N, right? So basically that's what principle of inclusion and exclusion basically does it so we only count each part once, right? Like if we use it for 2, it's just gonna be A1 plus A2 minus A1, A2. Yep, which all works out. Okay? My bad, I mean, I should have put intersection or the N. This means intersection, alright? This equals intersection. This is intersection, so the upside down U is intersection. And this U means union. Straightforward, right? Alright. So basically, that's basically what we're mostly going to be using when we're approaching these problems, PIE, which makes life much easier. So we don't have to derive it all over again, alright? So, let's move on to the lesson. So, it's going to be this example 9. So let's get started with it. Of the 400 eighth graders at Pascal Middle School, 117 take algebra, 109 take advanced computer, 114 take industrial technology. Furthermore, 70 take both algebra and advanced computer, 34 take both algebra and industrial technology, and 29 take both advanced computer and industrial technology. And finally, 164 students take none of these courses. How many take all three courses? Wow, is this a mouthful? That is so much words. But anyways, I'll let you guys have a try on this question and tell me your answers to chat. All right, let's get started. So basically, how do we approach this? So basically, we want to find how many take all three courses. Well, we know that 400 minus 164 gives us the amount of graders, eighth graders, that take courses. This gives us 235. 236. Now, from here, we get 114 take industrial technology, 120 take algebra, and 109 take advanced computer. Let's just add all of those up, all three of those up. It gives us 340 because we want to do the PIE method again. Now, we have to subtract the 70 and the 34, and the 29. And then we add up the remaining, which is x. Right? So x is basically all three of those courses. And this should give us 236, right? So let's do the math. 240 minus 70 is 270 minus 34 should give us 236. So over here, that's 236. And then we have to subtract 29. This gives us 207. 207. So what we're left with 207 plus x is equal to 236. And from there, we just get that it's 29. So the answer to this question is going to be 29. All right? Let's move on to problem 10. Let's you guys have a try on this question and tell me your answer to chat. All right, let's get started with this question. So basically, how we're supposed to approach this. We'll notice that 22 students surveyed on ice cream flavors, 12 like chocolate, and 5 only like strawberry, and 6 like vanilla. So basically, how we're supposed to approach this. Well, let's do PIE again. 12 plus 5 plus 6. That gives an overshoot. 5 plus 6 is 11, 23. And we know that 3 like chocolate and vanilla. Subtract 3. In this case, no, we have no mention of there's an intersection between strawberry vanilla and chocolate and strawberry. So we do not have to include that in the PIE calculation, right? This gives you as a total of 20. Now, since we're missing 2 students, we know that 2 students did not like any of these flavors, right? Basically, just use PIE. Notice that they didn't mention the other 2, so we do not include these. And all 3 combined, we also do not include it because they do not mention it. And basically, from there, all you have to do is just calculate, and we get the answer of 2 students that did not like any of these flavors. All right, we reached the end of the class. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next week. Bye.